Today's question, why do COVID conspiracies seem so prevalent in intelligent people? Who's responsible? Let's talk about science first. Science, good decision making, leadership, problem solving is not emotional. Emotions corrupt thinking. Strong emotions, particularly, can really control us, control how we see things, control our perceptions and our understanding of things. For example, Houston, we have a problem. That's how a scientist says it. That's how someone in leadership trained to solve a difficult problem. That's how they would go about it. I mean, the situation is we're in this metal capsule hurtling through space. Nobody can come and help us. We're totally reliant on this metal box that is now defective. Unless we fix it, we're all going to die. That's the reality of this situation. But how was it communicated? We have a problem. What do you think we had to do about it? That's trained because, again, strong emotions in that situation clouds thinking, clouds judgment, hampers performance. Communications between pilots and the tower are always very matter of fact. Very, okay, we're going to have to land in the river, but it was a very scary, very frightening situation. So strong emotions, particularly fear, the fear is probably the strongest emotion. Hate is another very strong emotion. A lot of that is fear-driven. And I'm a little distracted right now. Hi, Benjamin. See, Pawpaw is a real Pawpaw. Good science, good leadership, good decision making is rational. It's very unemotional. You have to take emotions out of it. Where do most people get their, quote, science? Where do they get what they claim to be science? They get it from the media. They get it from politicians. What do media and politicians use? Emotion. I mean, if a story does not generate strong emotion, nobody's going to watch it. It's not going to receive the views, likes, shares as something that generates strong emotion. When you get science from the media, they don't really seem to spend a lot of time trying to make sure that their science is totally accurate. They'll pick the high points of what someone says. They'll question. No, not very much nuance. And they'll just put a big narrative around it that makes it very emotional. Some people, well, a lot of people, see this. They see the fear. Just be cute. See yourself? You can see yourself. Okay, where were we? Okay, we were talking about emotions, right? How science and decision making and all these things cannot be emotional, but the media makes money off of emotion. That's really what drives them. And so do politicians, right? You generate enthusiasm, turn out votes, generate support by using a lot of emotion. And what emotion typically is what a politician or political parties use. They use fear. And the most effective way to do politics is to identify an enemy victim kind of a thing, but to rally people on your side to fight the other guy. The more effectively they can do that, the more money they raise, the more votes, the higher the voter turnout, that sort of thing. There has to be someone or something to fear. And that's why we're so driven, we're so divided. It's a big, oh, we're surprised we're so divided, people are so political. Well, that's what the political parties have always wanted with 24-hour news and social media, where now people are directly engaging with one another. It's super elevated. And the news media is more emotional, but there's more competition than ever. So it's not too difficult It's actually a natural thing. If you see some of the seeming contradictions, you definitely can see the fear. You can definitely see the media and the politicians using the fear. And they may say this with good intent. They want people to do what's recommended. They want them to stay home. So they can actually couch it in public good. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's self-interest. That's really what's behind everything. That's the basis of what's driving everyone. So you have factual, informative science going on, being delivered. Almost everybody gets their quote science information from the media, so it's always being delivered in an emotional way. And that is done to essentially control, manipulate your behavior, get you to do certain things. So some people see that, they perceive that, and they're not wrong. But what it does then is it creates this, okay, there's a lot of fear happening here. This information that's coming in, I can test it. I can show you where this information isn't right. And they can accurately do that. And the only reason I see for presenting it the way they did is fear. So therefore, they're just trying to scare us. Someone's trying to control us with fear, manipulate us with fear. So there's a conspiracy. That's the roots of a conspiracy theory behind COVID and behind a lot of other things. Now, there's a psychology to conspiracy theories and things like that, but we won't get into that today. So that's what's going on. Okay? Now, here's what drives me crazy. Here's what really drives me crazy is the people that are actually causing the problem are then pointing to other people and saying, oh, we have to control their speech, their rhetoric. They're the ones causing all this trouble. No. I mean, the media is really, the mainstream media is 90% of the influence over the culture. Yes, there are other alternative media sources, and people, maybe even half the people watch those sources. But the issue really is that the left-wing mainstream media has a much, much greater influence over the culture. It's what corporations do. You know, you see decisions of corporations falling in line with that narrative. You see Hollywood entertainment. You know, it's just, unless you're seeking out an alternative perspective, you're getting the left-wing perspective. And as we become more political, both people have more populated the extremes of the left and the right. It's the nature of the beast, man. It's politics, it's media, and it really bothers me that people listen to the politicians and they listen to the media and allow them to turn them against their neighbor, against their family, against their friends. I mean, that happened. That's happened in the last few years where people were literally turned against family members based on their beliefs in politics, COVID, whatever. Horrible, horrible situation. We have to stop this. And, so who do I blame? Do I blame these fringe elements? Do I blame, I mean, they have a level of responsibility in it, but the real influencers, if the media and the politicians stop being so self-serving, if they really cared about unity and they cared about knowledge and solving problems, they would be the ones that could fix it. So they're the ones I hold primarily accountable for all the division, for the rise of conspiracy theories, for everything that's going on that you would look at our country and say, this is bad about our country. Because you know what? Nobody wants unity. You know what they want? They want compliance. You're never going to get it. We're never, ever going to get there until people stop listening to this stuff. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in to Ask PawPaw. Send me an email if you have a question. I'll do my best to answer it if I can, or at least help you to see a way that you can go about finding answers for yourself, which at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So thanks for coming over. Bye now.